Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hi, sir. Emily Gooden with thedailymail.com. I was wondering, do you think justice was served in the Harvey Weinstein case?
So I was never a fan of Harvey Weinstein, as you know. In fact, he said he was going to work hard to defeat me in the election. How did that work out, by the way? I'm trying to figure that out.
You know, I'm not going to lie. I've known Hillary Clinton 20 years. The allegations about her being not trustworthy are not smart, you know, and I don't think anything she did, you know, was intentional. And, you know, so this is just insane that she doesn't have the trustworthiness, and it's the only thing keeping her from winning. So I don't want to move to Canada, and, you know, but I certainly don't want to see Donald Trump. And, you know, we just got to work hard, and we got to win. This is the worst I've ever seen it. This is not Mitt Romney or Robert Dole, Ronald Reagan, you know, whatever, and the country survives, and, you know, it moves, or George W. Bush. This is a real serious, this is somebody appealing to the worst in us.
He was a person I didn't like, never liked. I don't know too much about the case because, as you know, I've been over here between traveling and being at meetings almost every hour of the day, every minute of the day. I haven't been able to really see too much of it. But I was just not a fan of his. I knew him a little bit, not very well. I knew him because he was in New York. Not a person that I like. I will say the people that liked him were the Democrats. Michelle Obama loved him. Hillary Clinton loved him.
You've been here all day. You should feel at home by now. Hell, I want to start by thanking Harvey Weinstein for organizing this amazing day. This is possible because of Harvey. He is a wonderful human being, a good friend, and just a powerhouse. And
I just want to follow up on that very quickly, if I can, Mr. President. Then I have a question that I wanted to ask you. But just on the Harvey Weinstein situation, this is being viewed as a milestone for the Me Too movement. What message can you, as president, deliver to women in America who are still afraid to come forward and share their stories of sexual harassment and assault?
Woman, get back in here and make me a sandwich.
Make me a grilled cheese sandwich, woman.
What part of sandwich do you not understand? Can't you do one damn thing right? Come on, hurry up in there.
Sign says, no, you make me a sandwich.
No, you make me a sandwich, Sarah.
No.
Where's my sandwich?
Your leg's broken.
You're really against making guys sandwiches of any kind.
Did I not make myself clear?
I think that from the standpoint of women, I think it was a great thing. It was a great victory. And sends a very strong message, very, very strong message. But yeah, please.
Just wanted to follow up on my colleague's question about Russian interference. Can you pledge to the American people that you will not accept any foreign assistance in the upcoming election? And on this idea of a purge in your administration, there was recently the departure of your acting DNI, Joseph McGuire. You replaced him with your ambassador to Germany, Rick Grenell. Some of your critics have pointed out that Ambassador Grenell has no intelligence experience. How can you justify to the American people having an acting DNI with no intelligence?
Donald Trump doesn't have a lot of affection for the intelligence community. However, he just named the acting director of national intelligence, and he is certainly one of Trump's loyalists. He's actually also a well-known Twitter troll, and his name is Richard Grenell. So who is this guy? Let's go a little deeper and figure out how much of a disaster this really is. He's known to be a fierce online warrior for Trump. Also, he has a history of saying pretty terrible things to women, including women in his own party. I should note he's openly gay, so he is now the first openly gay acting director of national intelligence. But just because he's gay doesn't mean he's a good person. He's actually a pretty terrible person. Lori Blackford, producer for Chris Matthews long before he came to MSNBC, recalled remarks Grenell allegedly made to a fellow campaign staffer on the 1992 Bush Quayle re-election campaign. She was quoted as saying, "One of our staff people came in and had on a flowery dress and red shoes, and Rick," meaning Richard Grenell, "looked at her and said, Didn't your mother ever tell you only whores and very small children wear red shoes?
Is that like a common phrase? I've never heard that before.
I really like red shoes, actually. I own a pair of red pumps. I do not get paid for sex, so.
Bullshit.
I might be an exception to that rule. I don't know.
That's bullshit.
The state of our country. As my brother, who has a baby at home and is very stressed out, likes to say, our lives are in shambles. Okay?
It's all shambles.
Gay!
First of all, I want no help from any country, and I haven't been given help from any country. And if you see what CNN, your wonderful network, said, didn't they apologize for the fact that they said certain things that weren't true? Tell me, what was their apology yesterday? What did they say?
America's democracy once again under attack by a foreign adversary. And America's president, who may stand to benefit, doesn't want to hear anything about it. In fact, he doesn't want Congress to hear anything about it. But sources tell us that the U.S. intelligence community has been sounding the alarm that Russia is already taking steps to interfere with the upcoming presidential election. And they're doing it to help President Trump get reelected and also to make Americans doubt the integrity of the election process. It's 2016 all over again, maybe even worse, but this time hindsight is 2020.
Intelligence officials went behind closed doors, briefed members of the House Intelligence Committee that Russia is interfering in the election with the hope of getting the President Trump reelected.
A couple of things keep on happening. One, that the intelligence community releases an assessment that Russia interfered in our elections or is trying to do so again. And then you have the president's skepticism toward that assessment, especially because he feels like it delegitimizes his own victory and doesn't want that to happen again. So he really looks closely to this, and he does not like it when any official in his administration buys into this notion, despite the fact that it's been overwhelmingly confirmed. By the intelligence community.
We begin this hour with new details and new evidence that the president is willfully ignoring intelligence because he doesn't like its conclusion. That conclusion that Russia is meddling again, and that Russia again prefers Donald Trump to win.
Sources tell CNN that after learning about the briefing, the president became irate.
Regardless of what happened in the Intelligence Committee, what is of real importance here is what happened in the Oval Office when, if the press reports are to be believed, the president got extremely angry, threw a fit with his director of national intelligence. And people need to grapple with that a little bit, because that is sending a message to the intelligence community that you better be very careful about saying things that I, Donald Trump, don't like.
The result of the president's anger? An Oval Office tirade against the soon-to-be out-the-door acting director of national intelligence, Joe Maguire. In that heated meeting, the president repeatedly sided against his own intelligence community professionals who arrived at the Russia conclusion. Sources telling the Washington Post the president said American officials were getting, quote, played, and that he did not believe, the President of the United States telling them he did not believe Russia is interfering to help him or had any plans to do so.
Though, of course, these are not political opinions of these intelligence officials, the president's own intelligence officials. These are intelligence assessments they are giving to lawmakers that they are supposed to give to lawmakers. But the president's other issue here, John, is that Adam Schiff was in the room. And of course, he's not only the House Intelligence Chairman, but also was the one who led that impeachment inquiry against the president last fall. Someone the president has been furious with, told people he doesn't even want on White House grounds.
What we are hearing from 3 national security officials is that Pearson may have overstated the extent of the U.S. intelligence as it relates to Russian interference.
Is that Pearson may have overstated the extent of the U.S. intelligence.
That it's been overwhelmingly confirmed.
Is that Pearson may have overstated the extent of the U.S. intelligence as it relates to Russian interference. But the U.S. doesn't yet have the evidence to actually conclude that Russia is interfering in the election because of the fact that they view Trump as a leader they can work with, because they have a preference for President Trump. Now, one official said that Pearson's characterization of the intelligence was misleading. Another official said that it lacked nuance.
That it's been overwhelmingly confirmed by the intelligence community.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. The intelligence community officials do their job. They're supposed to brief Congress on big developments. They go up and give a briefing. They tell them the truth. Russia is meddling again, and based on their assessment that the Kremlin prefers President Trump again. They do their jobs, they tell the truth, and the president doesn't like it. Fair?
At least 2 years for Mueller to tell us there was no evidence of collusion. It took 2 minutes this time for us to find out there was no evidence. As soon as a Republican asked this briefer in the classified House intel briefing, what evidence do you have to support that assessment? The answer was none.
We have news for you, breaking news, that for whatever reason is being downplayed or ignored by other media outlets, but we think you ought to know about it. 5 simple words describe it. There was no Russian collusion. You knew that already because you're not an idiot.
Tell me, what was their apology yesterday? What did they say?
Mr. President, I think our record on delivering the truth is a lot better than yours sometimes, if you don't mind me saying.
Let me tell you about your record. Your record is so bad you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You have probably
I'm
the
not
worst
ashamed
record,
of anything, and our
you probably have the
organization
worst
is not
record in the
ashamed,
history
sir.
of broadcasting.
Yesterday, CNN wrote an entire piece predicting the president would be shocked that he can't eat steak and burgers while in India. It's so absurd. Not only is it absurd, it's bad for the country over time. These people ought to resign today.
As far as McGuire is concerned, he's a terrific guy, but, you know, on March 11th, his time ended anyway, so his time came up, so we would have had to, by statute, we would have had to change him anyway. So the
Well, your
time
new
was
DNI have experience in the intelligence field?
Yes. In fact, we're talking to 5 different people right now. I think all people that you know, all people that you respect, and I'll make a decision probably over the next week to 2 weeks. We have some very good people.
Was he
But we
forced
are
out
going-
because he wasn't sufficiently loyal to you?
No, not at all. Not.
Yeah, this is really a chance to frankly save the DNI. The DNI was a bureaucratic layer that was slapped on top of the intelligence bureaucracy in the wake of 9/11 a couple of years after. It's really been sort of a nothing burger of a position. You've had people like James Clapper who have actually been, you know, politicos who have politicized intelligence and used the positions. Hopefully Grinnell can depoliticize it and get it back to the business. You know, our intelligence bureaucracy is very troubled. $50 billion a year, and it is wrong so many times it's hard to keep track of. Also, you know, by Trump, this is appointing, for the first time in U.S. history, the first openly gay man to a cabinet-level position, so another first for Donald Trump.